What's the unique value of a conference focused on innovation in the postal sector, like TIP?
I think if you want to really look at the unique value that that conference brings, I think there's several things. One is really technology and economics, politics, and the attempt to link these two things and not just do one or the other, which all the other conferences, I mean, they're technology conferences, they're regulatory conferences, but rarely they look at the link of those two. And I think the other unique value is the attempt that we make to link theory and practice. I mean, it's not an academic conference in the traditional sense that people present papers nobody understands, but we want, the questions to be discussed at an academic, intellectually solid, but those should be practical, relevant questions. So I think that this unique thing is that we really have practitioners, people who live the postal world every day, and academics who make the effort to understand that world and not theorize about something they don't know.
How have you seen the conference evolving over the past few years?
Yeah, I think in terms of the evolution of the conference, the ambitions were always the same. We always wanted to link theory and practice and technology and economics and politics. But I think the conference become more substantive. I mean, the quality of the participants has increased, the number of the people increases, and it will still increase. So I think the initial, I mean, we haven't changed anything. It's just that we are now establishing ourselves as a unique and solid conference in that field. Collaboration between something like an IPC and the EPFL, I think for us, this is normal. For EPFL, I mean, that's what we do. We are a technology university, and we necessarily work with people in the real world. But then it's important to find the right partners, and I think IPC is the perfectly right partner for this kind of thing in the postal sector. It gathers the 24 most advanced postal operators in the world. I think we couldn't think of any better partner than IPC.
And what are the complementing strengths of EPFL and IPC?
I think the complementarities have to be seen in this context of theory and practice. I mean, IPC brings the relevant, I mean, this 80 or 85% of the global postal market. So the IPC brings the relevant question to the table. I mean, they are at the forefront of what is happening, and they make sure that we look at the right things. EPFL brings to it the scientific approach, the methodology, the rigor, and I think that's an ideal thing.
I think it's safe to say predicting the future is quite impossible, but how do you see the evolution of the postal sector with the rise of digital business, changing regulations?
The future of post, I think that's really the challenge, and that's what makes post so interesting as a field of study for a university person if you take your job seriously. I mean, here all the challenges are before you. So we thought, I mean, in the 80s, liberalization was the challenge, competition, and then regulation came and things like that. Then late 90s, early 2000s, we really saw technology as being the challenge. The ICTs, the internet, the social media, all this new behavior, and we still have no answer to this challenge. I think posts have very well answered the liberalization challenge. They have become, at least the IPC members, they have become modern, they have become competitive, they have become innovative, but this ICT challenge, the e-world, is a totally new challenge, and nobody knows really the outcome. We know, I mean, we know about substitution. We know that letters will gradually diminish. Some people say it will disappear or not. We are not sure about that. We know that there will always be parcels. We know that, but Will it be parcels for post or for somebody else? And so I think that's precisely why we have these conferences, is to put on the table the real questions and look at the issues and see what can be done. I personally think that posts will come back at some point. I mean, they were government organizations. In the liberalization process, they sort of distanced themselves from government, rather thought that governments are a nuisance in the process. But in the e-world, they may consider that teaming up with government on some of these electronic issues like e-government, e-health, e-identity may actually not be that bad an idea. And it will be a new relationship with the government. It's not, executing what the government wants, but it will be offering the government solutions to their e-government problems. And I think that will not be all for posts, but I think especially small postal operators that don't have a global presence may well turn back to government in one way or another and offer government to modernize when they have modernized before.
Looking forward to next year, what do you see as possible interesting areas of focus for the next year's conference?
No, I think all the topics we have put here, we have already, in terms of, we have dealt here with innovation, we have dealt here with technology, we have dealt here with sustainability. I think all these issues will continue. It's difficult to predict what it also depends a little bit of the partners. I cannot decide these kind of things alone, but I think one of the new topics we may look at is all this urban issue. The planet is getting urbanized. Increasingly already now, the majority of the people live in urban areas. Things are congested. Governments or local governments are worried about pollution, environment, too many trucks driving around. And I think that can be an opportunity for posts again to offer themselves as a unique provider of urban logistics. So I think this urban topic should be at least dealt with, but all the other topics need to continue. We haven't solved the question of substitution. We haven't really solved the question of what posts do in the e-world. So that'll continue.